Good morning and welcome to the Capital Gang. I am Oscar Semoya Msoke. On the first gang after the election, we have journalist Derek Wandera is in the studio. Good morning, Derek Wandera.
Good morning, Oscar. It's always a pleasure being here. I have an uphill task for me this morning because I'm faced with the two big NRM honchos. I have Dr. Golova, Frederick Golova is on the way.
Yeah,
academic. That would be a little bit
an academic. Benjamin Katana is stuck at the Tally Center, but I have Honorable Ofonopondo in a very MP looking like shirt, well ironed, collar up. Welcome to Gang, Honorable Ofonopondo.
Thank you, Ontente.
You know, we know your substance, but you're going to have to improve looks as well. And at the beginning, so far, you're doing well with the looks.
I hope that's sincere.
Always.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Oscar. And good morning to our listeners.
For you, I have no fear. Our listeners, as you may note, internet is off, so we cannot post on X, formerly Twitter. We don't have an X space on. We don't have TikTok, but we have a recording. So those that have missed today's gang, because usually listen online, you can get the gang later in the week when they switch on. One of the architects of switching off the internet is in the studio. RDC Fred Bamwine in a deep yellow shirt, a government worker wearing a deep yellow shirt. But welcome to the Capital Gang, Mr. Fred Bamwine.
Thank you so much, Oscar. It can only be an issue if it has a logo or a signal, but then plain.
As you say, I'm candid. The substance of it, he's in a deep yellow shirt.
Thank you so much, Oscar, and good morning, listeners of Capital Gang. And I want to congratulate Ugandans for this milestone of having elected their leaders, despite the mishaps that could have happened. But really, that's the right observation, but to a wrong person.
But also, Oscar,
it's the RDC.
The date for elections were announced long ago.
about 5 years ago.
How could the same government, Minister of Education, not liaise to appreciate that the day election results are coming out,
the next day
you don't release?
No, these are not for Uganda government results. Uganda government results will probably come out next week. These are international results.
Yeah, but still you are in Uganda. Yeah.
No, you could have given us a window.
No, you are in the same environment.
Like, if you had come to me, I would have used your tethering and we download examination results. But anyway, so the election has, the first part, the main election has ended. 15th January, presidential election and elections for members of parliament.
President and members of parliament.
Yes, president and members of parliament. How did it go, Ofonopono?
I drove from Kampala to Tororo, Muranda, basically where I voted from. It was calm.
Thursday morning?
No, I drove on Wednesday evening. I voted there and I returned yesterday morning. The voting process was calm, save for the hiccup of the BVVM, the machines, that in many places, many polling stations could not open in time, failed to detect. But the instructions came at about 9:30, 10. I think we wasted about an hour and a half that they could use manual verification. And we voted. And as you know, currently there are no polling stations with more than 650 voters. So it was very fast. By about 3:30, at least in my polling station, Muranda Church of Uganda, where we had 2 polling stations in one compound, almost all voters had cast their votes. I didn't witness, I have not heard any case where somebody wanted to vote and on account of that time, they did not. The counting also started almost immediately. Usually, with the local people at a polling station would know the result of that polling station. And if you're interested, you would have picked telephone numbers of your other coordinators, and it is easy to verify in a sub-county which could have like 14 polling stations. It is easy to verify which candidates are in the lead or have actually won. And then it is also easy to do your local tally and keep it as you wait for the official tally. So for the case of Toro, where I voted from, by the following day, yesterday, 9 o'clock, the results of the first member of parliament had come out. We do not have incidents of violence that I know of. We do not have any incident of death occasioned by bad behavior of the stakeholders. I do not hear of maybe one polling station where there was, I'm told, at the end of the tally, the number of votes were more than the ballot papers delivered by about 34, because usually the Electoral Commission gives extra ballot papers in case when somebody is supposed you can be given another. The ballot papers were more than the registered voters, and that polling station, according to the law, gets nullified, and indeed it was nullified. That was in West Budama Central. But anyway, the results are now out in that in that district. We have lost 2 sitting members of parliament, the Honorable Emmanuel Otala, West Budama Central, and the Honorable Sarah. No, we have lost actually 3. Honorable Opent Sarah, I think, and we have lost the member of parliament for the municipality, Honorable Yeri Ofono Apollo, who incidentally happens to be the chairman of the NRM in the district. He was defeated by, this is curious, he was defeated by a young Asian boy, the son of Tana. There was Tana who was a youth MP, not Sanjay. The son of the youth MP, I think this was the 6th parliament, who died in an accident prematurely before he completed that term. So his turn is, but he's also the nephew of Sanjay Tana. So he's the one who has taken
Independent.
Independent.
Independent, NRM leaning.
Yes. Very. I'm not sure if he's leaning.
Confusing terms.
So yes, he's independent. Yeah. So and I think I had forgotten. We also lost MP Ekanya of FDC to another young man. Yes.
He hadn't returned to parliament, so this is his second loss.
Ekanya had returned.
Yeah,
he had been defeated by Honorable Nyakecho, but he's the sitting member of parliament on the FDC ticket this time. So we have, out of the 9 members of parliament there, we have lost 4. 5 have come back. I came driving through Busia and Busoga. When I reached Bujiri municipality, that was when they were declaring the results in that municipality, and I stopped, and they told me Asman Baswala had lost to a new person called Ukech, but they have been competing together since that municipality was created. So they were meeting the 3rd time. So Asman lost, and Ukech of NRM won. Then I came to Bugweri, and my brother, yours truly, Abudu Katuntu, I also found they had just announced, and he had lost by about 4,000 votes. I don't know if he cited Micah, but he called me immediately, and he told me, brother, I have lost, and I don't have anybody I am blaming, and at my age, I cannot, even if there are issues, I can't go to court. I have accepted the defeat. Yeah. So
who did he lose to? The perennial guy he's been competing with?
No. This is a new person. It's called Haji Sadara Wandera. He was another DC. Prior to that, he had been in one of our agencies. Yeah. So far not. So I came through Jinja, Iganga, Jinja, I did not see witness incidences that could have shown that maybe, and I've not heard up to now. It was only when I entered Mukono that this was around 4, and I could see the jitteriness on the street at about.
How do you see it?
You see animated crowds by the roadside, and at about 7 I was home. I started hearing explosion. I could know that these are fire. You call them what?
Firearms.
Tear gas.
Tear gas, yeah.
Later on, I called the OC station there and I asked what had happened. He said, Honorable Kivule tried to go there to say he had won. Of course, in the law, it is not with the candidate to say you have won. It should be the results to speak. And because of that, it brought some commotion. Later, because they delayed by that 7, they hadn't announced any candidate since the previous day. The voters thought somebody was trying to fiddle with the results. And so they also tried to overrun the Electoral Commission place in Mukono, and the police fired tear gas. When they fled, they started putting barricades. Mukono municipality is undergoing construction of the road, so there are many stones for constructing the road. So they would get boulders and put on the road, look for rubbish, pour on the road, but by about 8:30 it had quieted. I drove from there this morning. I haven't noticed any incident. I have not heard any other thing. So I think generally, and of course I've been calling other parts of the country. Generally, I think the situation is calm.
So
except the massive losses. I have done a quick count. About 13 ministers have lost. Even after there are those that had lost the primaries. I think all except Jeje Odongo. Jeje Odongo avoided the primaries, but all the ministers who lost in the primaries
have lost again,
and they try to come back. All of them have lost.
But if 13 in the last election, there were far more than 13 ministers that lost the election.
Yeah, if you combine with the primaries, they usually about 25 or 30.
Again, with the election itself, and we should welcome Dr. Frederick Golova. Welcome to Gang. We have missed you.
Glad to see him. We have been having a banter on social media. He had been in exile for almost how many years, Doctor?
I've never been in exile. It's
figuratively.
No, actually, I spend more time here than most people imagine. I'm here all the time.
So you make noise while in hiding here?
Yeah, I'm here a lot. People think I live permanently in Rwanda. No, I'm here.
I have interviewed Dr. Golova like a zillion times, but I've never met him.
Oh, you had not met him?
No.
Well, you see that right next to you, so I have a Frederick and a Fred facing each other across the table. But often upon still on the microphone, since you are the honorable in the studio, and Lydia won as well, honorable Wanyoto now.
Lydia Wanyoto has won. Mbare City, woman member of parliament.
Finally.
This is her for that. This is her 3rd time try for that area. And congratulations to you, Lydia, as our flag bearer. Yeah.
And then the biometric machines made the election start late.
Yeah.
A lot of people predicted that they would not work, and eventually they didn't work.
Yes, you remember we had that show, Frontline, where the spokesperson of the Electoral Commission, my young brother Paul Bukenya, insisted that they had tested on a number of people, the machines would do.
He came here and told us the same.
So I said, but Bukenya, this is something made by a human being. Haven't you ever seen a plane taking off and hardly a minute into the air it crashes, and yet the technology of a plane should be higher than the biometric? Or haven't you gone to the bank and tried to put your finger thumb and then the machine failed to read you? So please put they did not want to tell us probably that should this machine fail, we shall have plan B, but I think they should have have better communication prior Yeah, I think they should have.
He came here and told us the same. We asked him many questions about it.
Yeah.
But that cost, if you sink a lot of money, if you buy a car at a very high cost, you want that car to work. And if it doesn't work, you want to make someone accountable.
I don't know how much we spent, but it certainly must have been billions.
Many of them.
I think I heard Honorable Semujo saying on air that at least actually in one of our shows, I think he said it was 15 billion or more.
No, it was quite more, 51
billion.
Yeah.
So I think they should have been more kind and say, look, but well, that's now past us. The good thing.
No, it's not past us.
No.
You when you go to Parliament, aren't you going to ask about 51 billion
we shall,
spent on some machines that have not worked?
Shall,
yeah.
But what I'm saying,
and now they're not going to work
I
again.
I think the amendment of the law by by Parliament to make sure that the polling stations have fewer voters mitigated that, in the sense of the political fallout which would have happened. If, for example, we had 1,500, as previously, 1,500 or more people at one polling station, and then the machine fails, you lose 2 hours. In some places, I think they even lost 3 hours.
Somewhere here in Kampala, 6.
Yeah, then you have a scuffle. Then people read by the intent.
Yeah.
Then you start having a scuffle. But this time around, I think the fewer numbers in the polling station has mitigated. But certainly, we shall ask that question if this Parliament does not ask. Because this Parliament still has 4 or 5 months. Yeah, we shall ask, why do we do things like improperly if we did not know?
I actually counted because I was in the line for about an hour, and it was quick moving. And I did time a couple of people at when they got to the desk.
But
it was like 2 minutes.
But I must
it was quick.
Yeah, but I must also add
the manual, the register.
It did not fail in all polling stations, except that the rate of failure was higher.
So you think, did it work in any polling station?
Yes.
Because in places where it worked for an hour.
Yeah, where I was in Miranda, the place ours did not work, and those 2 polling stations did not work. But at the next 2 polling stations near us, they actually worked.
And it worked for the entire day.
I did not bother
to check later. Yes. Because some people think if you switched off the internet, then of course the biometric machine isn't going to work.
I did not even bother to find out if where I voted they reverted to the machine. I did not bother. Once people started voting, there was no need for me really to. Probably they did not anticipate that the internet will be open. It works on the internet.
Derek, when they're still on the voting itself, a lot of people have made a comeback. General Tumukunde, one of them, did he come back as an NRM, or is he going to give him trouble?
He was a flag bearer
of
NRM. Yes. So certainly he's going to be in but General Tumukunde can just change within the weather, so you will never predict. But yes, he has come back.
He's like Ofono Pondo. You just can't tie them down.
No, for me, I think Ofono Pondo, I wouldn't put him in that category, because Ofono Pondo will call a spade and a spoon a spoon.
Yeah.
General Tumukunde will say, it's a spoon, but why didn't you bring a bigger spade? Something like that. Yeah. For me, I wouldn't.
He's a former spy master.
I wouldn't put him in the same sentence. So many comebacks, like you say. I've seen quite many around the city here.
Karuhanga?
Yes, Honorable Gerard Karuhanga is back.
A friend of Gang. Norbert
Mao.
Why was he complaining earlier?
I think he had a very bad start in his campaigns. In Gulu. I saw one rally where he was literally exchanging with the electorate or the supporters, bitterly exchanging, asking him very hard questions and stuff like that. And the questions, of course, emanate from his DP presidency, and I think the MOU he signed with the government, and asking those hard questions why didn't you consult us? How do we benefit from this and stuff like that? And I thought he was up to something very difficult to answer when he certainly came out to stand as MP.
I have questions for him when I meet him next.
You probably will even invite him.
Dr. Acheng, she beat Betty Amongi.
Dr. Cheng is grounded. Dr.
Really?
Cheng, for all intents and purposes, she's very grounded in terms of content delivery, in terms of knowledge.
Betty Amongi is bullish. She's a fighter. And
Betty Amongi leaves her constituency, where she almost has very minimal opposition. Then you come to a sitting minister, a fellow minister, and you want to muzzle them out. I don't think that the Ruth Acheng I know, whom I've seen and interacted with, would just let that go.
But you remember at the beginning of that campaign, actually, Ruth Acheng said, I am very happy that this woman has come to my constituency.
She did.
She just said so. But I think the calculation of UPC, if Betty Amongi still won, was that I leave a safe UPC constituency so that Dr. Okwaro Obuku yes. Comes so that we can add one or two more MPs.
Did Obuku win?
I have not yet.
I'm not yet.
Okay. But he's likely to win.
Then there's our Semuju and Techikubo, Segona.
I will tell the world that anyone who knows Chira municipality and has taken their time to move through Chira municipality would certainly know that Semuju, if he ever got a very good and befitting candidate, they will always oust him. We had this conversation with one of my friends.
My people are voters in Chira, and they would have voted. They voted Semuju.
You didn't ask them well. You didn't ask them well. In the 2021 election, a huge figure in the Chira municipality, really in the community, especially where he stays, called me aside and told me, Derek, I've been moving around this. He works so closely with the leaders, the local leaders, and he told me, do you know if Semuju just got someone who is almost at his level and is very astute at that, he can oust him. I said, why? He said, now look, Honorable Semuju has numerously said he is not a barrio MP. Numerously.
But Ofonopono is also not a barrio MP, and he won.
No. Ofonopono, this one. Every time in Mulanda, anyone who dies in Mulanda, he's there.
And making a speech.
And making a speech. This one. Don't joke with this man.
Since I won the flag, I have lost 4 or 5 members of my elders league. And I've buried or sent a representative
to all of them.
I have supported the graduation ceremony and the wedding ceremonies. So
you see, now
this is what MPs must do.
You see, when Honorable Semuju comes here, he always tells us, my job is not to build roads in my constituency. And yes, it's not his job. It's not for him to build hospitals and stuff.
Yeah,
so what is his work? He's supposed to represent in Parliament.
Yeah.
He does that very excellently. Beyond that, a person in Chira.
What about Sechikubo?
Sechikubo has his own problems. Sechikubo has had his own problems, especially with his constituents, for a very long time. Most of which come with, again, like Semuju, many have complained about him not going back after being voted for. He comes back here to Kampala, he begins opposing NRM every other day and opposing anything around him, and then he forgets people. And also the longevity of these people is something that you need to look at.
Sechikubo has been there since 2001.
You can't compare him to the general that replaced him.
That longevity. No, the general as MP.
Okay.
Yeah, as MP. That longevity. That longevity. It's not even about age. It's about how long you've represented these people. And now they're going to put you on a very huge weighing scale. You've been here for 25 years. Like Honorable Ozi Blaza. 25 years, and then they're asking you questions of how has been your service delivery over time, and you'll struggle to even put a finger on this and that and that.
Right.
I'm not going to tell that story you told us off air.
Fred Bamwine has stepped out. I guess his job entails receiving many phone calls. I was going to now look at aspects of violence and so on. But over to you, Dr. Frederick Golova. How was the election for you and your people?
Well, for me, the election was easy. I went to my polling station. I was surprised. There were very few people there. It didn't take me even 5 minutes to vote. Except I heard a story which I can't verify, because by the time I got there, there were a lot of border boys there and other young men looking very agitated. I couldn't understand what the issue was. But then after voting, I went to them and said, guys, why are you looking so agitated? I said, oh, you know, a few minutes ago, well, a short while before you arrived, a drone came here. People jumped out of the drone and started beating up people here, and suddenly we discovered that after they left, they went with signed DR forms. That they duped these young people into signing DR forms, and they took them with them. And I thought, but how did that happen? I said, oh, you know, these young people who are presiding over the election, they are stupid, they just handed over the forms. Apparently somebody told them that there were few DR forms, so they needed them signed quickly. They signed them and they took them. Now, I again can't prove whether this is true.
Which one is that?
This is Rubaga, across from Sembuli.
Oh. I have a story about that. Verified.
And so, as I was there, a police patrol vehicle came with all these mean-looking police officers, and they jumped off, and border started riding off. But that's all that I saw. But as for the overall election, I have many things to say. The main one for me is going to be that it's 45 years since the start of a civil war in this country that occurred as a result of a rigged election. 45 years. And in those 45 years, it's quite striking that Uganda has not developed the capacity to conduct a controversy-free election, where you don't deploy security forces, where you don't deploy members, where you don't create an atmosphere that looks as if the country is going to war. Now, if 45 years ago the current leadership went to the bush because of a rigged election, one would have expected that it wouldn't take them 45 years to actually create circumstances in which we have elections in this country which are tension-free, where somebody wins and the majority of the people accept that they have won fairly. So that's the reflection I was having as I was listening to the radios and watching TVs and thinking, almost half a century, Uganda hasn't developed the capacity to conduct elections properly, peacefully, where you don't see members in the roads. As I was driving here from my house, I encountered two members with anti-aircraft guns and soldiers with covered faces, and again I was thinking, why? Why is this?
If you were to come in as a visitor, you'd think Uganda is at war.
Yeah.
Because you have all these policemen marching, soldiers marching.
It's almost half a century since we had the last elections that caused war in this country.
Machines not working.
Machines, biometric machines are not working. President Museveni complained that NUP stole his elections in 2021, and so they brought the machines. It's the same electoral commission that presided over the theft of his votes, but he still left them in place. Now they have botched the biometric machine issue. Are they going to start to retain their positions? Are they going to conduct the next elections? So
I also
Dr. Golova.
I also thought he was the electoral commission is so lucky, because all these elections I've attended, there's been no rain.
Yeah, such
and there have been rain. We don't even plan for rain.
Lastly,
let him finish.
Lastly, years ago, and it's many years ago, a friend of mine was working on a project that was intended to modernize Parliament. And USID, modernize Parliament. And one of the things that had been proposed at the time was to introduce electronic voting in Parliament. It has never been introduced, and that person told me that actually it was blocked by the government. And I was thinking, if we couldn't put electronic voting in Parliament, why are we trying to use biometric machines across such a vast country with so many voters? We seem to have a fetish for electronics when it serves our purposes, but actually making these things work seems to be completely beyond our capacity. So for me, these are the reflections.
Yeah.
I'm thinking half a century.
I just wanted to come in so that we don't lose this point. First of all, about the rain. Last election, 2021, I again voted in Tororo. I came in rain up to Mukono. Was heavy rain? Yes, okay. yes. Actually, it disrupted that election. So I think it is a localized.
Our end of Kampala, we didn't have any rain.
Yeah. Now about this EC which you say has botched the BVVM, the machine, it cannot conduct the next election, I think, because the law is 7 years. I don't know if they would be eligible. We can check that. Or at least some of the commissioners may not be there because they would be time barred. But of course we can pinpoint where the problem is, and if it is the commission or commissioners, then we can ask for heads to roll. And now about security, I want to say, as somebody who has been campaigning, the reason for the heightened security didn't come from government. It came from sections of the politicians, specifically National Unity Platform, who had threatened violence. And it is localized. This deployment is localized. As I said, I drove from Tororo. I never saw a Mamba. I never saw policemen marching. I never saw a police station where there were lines of a column of policemen. But there were ordinary police and then election constables. The heavy deployment is in the environment of Kampala. Mukono, I didn't say Mamba, but I saw.
I heard even in Kamuli.
I didn't see Kamuli.
Somebody told me fighter jets were flying over Kamuli.
No, of course, a fighter jet, if it is patrolling Kampala airspace, it will go up to Jinja. It will go up to Jinja. But this deployment is mainly Kampala based.
Did you say it came from the opposition? So they deployed the...
No. I'm saying why security is deployed, it depends on threat assessment. What was the threat assessment? Chagulanyi and others, and this group had said they intend to come to the street, they intend to overrun the state.
It can only be dealt with by the members.
I'm saying threat assessment. What is the threat assessment? I think that's
hold on.
Oscar I actually think that we shouldn't make this a partisan issue. This is an issue that concerns us as Ugandans. We Ugandans, do we want a country where we conduct elections in peace, where we across the entire country?
Police is actually,
because it's 2 days now.
If people had refused to come to vote on account that they were fearing the deployment, that would be an issue. But let us look at the voter turnout. Does it show that people were scared?
No. Actually, it's not even. It's the issue about deploying forces is not just one issue. Whether people are scared, whether it's just the picture we create of the country.
Let's first go to Fred Bamwine here.
It's the picture we create of the country. Why can't we have elections that are free of these intimidatory things? These kind of in Luganda one would say okusasamaza, the things that make people think. But
Dr. Goloba, let me ask this question to Fred Bamwine here, who is an RDC, chief RDC. So, but one of the people participating in the violence or generating the violence. So, Fred Bamwine, on the election day, 505 people were arrested. This is a figure that has been generated. Despite arresting 505 people, which seems such a high number, then you have all these patrols, as Dr. Goloba has pointed out to you, and at the same time, people in Machindi have had no sleep. There was gunfire, helicopters, everything, and yet that election had been peacefully conducted. And we heard the same in Mukono. One day here is going to tell us, verify what Dr. Glover said about Rubaga. Why, Mr. Fred Bamwine?
Oscar, I want first of all to disagree with your statement of violence, because that's the news headline in Uganda. Security creating violence. And we don't bother. Maybe you bother, but deliberately distort what is the cause of violence. Who is violating who? I just want to give you a very short statement. Yesterday in Mukono, when the announcement delayed, people started getting jittery. So security told everybody to get away and leave only the agents and the election officials. And these people picked stones and started hitting security. One person, one of the soldiers is admitted. His head was shattered. Now, at least Fred, my namesake, I know him. I expected him to have been fair to himself and the country, to analyze the politics as they have been going since campaigns began in September. Where you have politicians, by the cross board, not only in opposition, where you have politicians taking this election as a do and die, because I will come to it, somebody thinks I must win, no gap for losing. People have sold their properties, all their savings in life, put it in this campaign. And when he weighs that he's likely to lose, then he resorts to take the law by his hands. And you think security is going to keep, to allow Wandera to attack Fred because of he's not getting enough support? Two, throughout the entire campaign, my young brother Chagulanyi has been on it, and he has said, for us, from now we are rebels. Everybody should go like a rebel, go and do rebel tactics and operations. There is no any announcement anymore. Four, Comrade Gorova knows that every financial year, the Parliament passes money for security agencies, specifically to monitor all of us. Now, when the intelligence estimates indicate that Prof. Gorova, as he was coming to Capital Gang, actually, although he came, but he had an ulterior motive. From here, he's going to either commit suicide or injure others. Security cannot keep quiet to allow him to be as free as that. So
security arrests him before he commits a crime.
Yes, there is what we call preventive arrest.
This is something you and I have argued off air as well. Because now, for this month, you've been a gangster.
Yes.
So you are a gangster now. We should think of arresting you for being a gangster.
If the indicators, the security indicators show,
the capital gang,
show that I'm likely to commit a crime, then the security will have to come for me. And I can tell you this level of unrest is not to opposition alone, but all politicians. We are not addressing the core. What is the cause? Because security has its mandate to make sure that people are peaceful.
Could the core be people like Bamwine who come dressed in yellow? So your purpose is to entrench yellow.
No, the core is very simple.
Be the problem.
The core is very simple. The core is, I wish you can allow me. I wish you can just allow me.
No, you have
through the law.
I can tell you
to entrench yellow.
One of the problems we have now is that the level of commercialization of politics is one of the big problems in this country. Two, the actors that we get on the scene, I think they don't measure to the responsibilities they want to access. That's what brings them to do politics of do and die. Three, then you have a challenge now that the Bamwines, the Grovers have left the politics to nobodies. Whether you like it or not.
I vehemently protest.
Let him just finish it.
I'm talking of the majority participants.
You're going to say those things, but now he's there.
No, you're going to see the parliament. Majority of the members of parliament in this country will not be able to make a statement in that floor. You are going to see the people who lost, those who have lost in this election. Majority have never even said, after they made a speech, they have never said anything. 5 years. So all these are issues we need to face as a
yes.
country. I want to pose one question. Fortunately, Mr. Fono is here, honorable now. If you compare the politics we had during the movement system of governance and the politics we have had now during one-party politics, don't you think we rushed quickly to go into this? When you see what has happened since 2006 to date, when you see the actors and the way we are doing it, don't you think the movement system would have been more better? Don't you think it calls for more discussion?
Mr. Bamwine,
Yes.
pause there for a second. We go back to Dr. Golova. And as you respond, because Fred Bamwine has been very clever in not answering what I asked him. He has created his questions and his answers. So this tendency towards violence by the state, they respond through violence to everything. Where is it coming from? Because that is part of a problem. And if you
as I said,
work that out, then we will have reached where you were going.
Yeah, as I said, I think that all of us Ugandans, whether we are NRM, whether we are NUP, whatever we are,
Exactly.
this is a matter we should treat as a serious national matter and not even be defensive about it. You can say, okay, NUP have been
and not to use one example of someone threw a stone and to clamp down on an entire country.
Because you can
take
say
that person to court.
Yeah, you can say no, Paul Chagulanyi were threatening, but in Zimbabwe, which is an NRM
That's what they
stronghold,
said.
the violence in Zimbabwe, if you leave that, I think that the atmosphere, the environment, the pre-campaign environment does lead us into certain directions. So you can say, okay, the Chagulanyis and NUPs have been threatening, but why have they been threatening? What has driven them in?
Well, when we had the NRM primaries.
They do and die.
Then you had the NRM primaries and people were fighting. You talk of commercialization of politics. Now, for me, and this, I'm not making a partisan point here, but still I would like to shine a torch to where I think part of the blame comes from. We saw your own NRM SEC elections here in Kololo. And again, I'm not saying this because I'm NUP or anything, but I'm not NUP. But I'm a sympathizer. I'm very sympathetic towards NUP. That's I'm not going to deny that. But I'm not saying this because I want to be partisan. But I'm saying we have specific problems in this country that make our politics the way it is. How can we begin to address problems that drive us to have electoral environments where the violence is so widespread that the army must bring out war-grade weaponry to patrol the street because we are having elections? Now you can say, well, you see, this is a do-and-die thing. Why is it that it's permissible in Zimbabwe? And I have seen it. Now this chap Rwashande is an NRM person.
It's across the board.
Rwashande is a retired military officer. Now one would have expected that he would be involved in a campaign that is peaceful, that is disciplined. But then you get reports
as required of a general.
that Rwashande supporters are beating so and so supporters.
That's what they say,
Rwashande
across
is
board.
making inflammatory statements, and you think, but Rwashande should be called to order by his political party.
I said across board.
Is it that the NRM has failed to impose discipline? And I keep saying this to many people, that actually in any country, Oscar, any country, the dominant party always sets the tone. Where the dominant party behaves in a particular way, the small parties tend to follow. They mimic the dominant party. So if we had an environment where the dominant party, for instance, does not allow its own members to beat each other up and break each other's legs during primaries, then maybe we wouldn't see that in the smaller parties. But as a country, as Ugandans, we really need to examine this issue.
Fred, I was with Ofonopondo. You're coming on. I was with Ofonopondo after the SEC elections, and a friend of ours said, but where is NRM in the SEC? You know, and Ofonopondo, as usual, has big answers to shut you up quickly. But the other person saying,
so should they be small?
because as our friend said, but where is NRM here? Because all you could see was the money that was spent. So when Bamwine talks about commercialization, he needs to start at home.
I said across board.
And what Golova was telling you, start at your home. Don't say across board.
Two rights don't make a right.
The dominant political organization in this country has set a certain tone in some areas that we really need to examine ourselves.
Let's have this before we go for break. Let's verify the Rubaga incident.
Rubaga incident is very similar to where I was, and mine is verified. I was in Nansana. That is what's the place? Let me just get the name of the place. Now here, first we arrived as journalists. We wanted to access the polling stations, but we were told you cannot access this polling station. So we asked why. We had been to over 23 polling stations in the district of Wakiso. We asked the officer, why can't we access this polling station? And the officer told us, so this is Nabweru Masjid Ahidaya polling station in Nabweru. That's in Nansana. So they pushed us out. So after being pushed out, the officer came with us out. Then I asked him, I went to him individually and asked him, we have been to over 23 polling stations and they didn't bar us from entering. You know, it was in a school. Hidayah is a school. So it has a gate. So they closed the gate and only people who are voting are inside. So I went and asked, what's the problem with this particular polling station?
Because ours was in a school as well. Gate was open.
No, this gate was always opened. You know the small gate on the big gate? That's the only one that had access, and there was a lot of deployment. So I asked, why can't we go and get news? Because for us, we are here to get news. He said, no, this one is out of bounds. I said, why? So, but you had entered, you didn't ask from me, you didn't even consult. So I said, okay, now let me consult, please. Can we go inside? So then he said, okay, now that you have asked, you can enter.
Go.
And then he told us our time.
Maybe an isolated incident.
Well, and I want to correlate Dr. Goloba's incident. Then we went in, and he told us you have very limited time in here.
Pick your news and go.
Pick your news and go. We had only 30 minutes or even less. But while there, I was very vigilant, and we had every footage on our cameras. We vividly saw people who were coming from the back of the polling station. There were buildings there, and they were coming from there, and they were signing DR forms
after voting
in the middle of an election, in the middle of voting. DR forms were being signed, and like he said, probably they were just manipulated.
You have that.
We have footage. We have all the footage. We have everything because we zoomed in and we just were questioning what's happening here. You know, DR forms were being signed in the middle of anything. And even at that very polling station, there was a building. When we arrived early in the morning, we got sources telling us that in that building, there's a lot of pre-ticked ballots or pre-ticking of ballots happening there. And indeed, there were men coming up from there. There was a lot of frantic activities going on on that building. But of course, we couldn't dare enter there. So whether it was there or not, at least we saw that some people who came down had pre-ticked ballots. Some citizens grabbed them and tore those ballots. We carried some of them, the torn ballots, pre-ticked ballots, which had been grabbed away from them by the citizens who were watching. At the time of counting, everyone was pushed out. Not even the media was accepted to enter there because it had a gate. We had to stay outside. Not even the supporters. You know, in the law, the supporters are supposed to witness the vote counting. And I can tell you that there were only a few polling agents who were there. And then polling as officials. So, if he talks about Rubaga, and I have had numerous of them coming from other parts of the city and the country, it leaves this election very questionable, because what I'm talking about, I have evidence to it. And I was there. At that time, I saw people who were real typical goons that you call goons. And they were stoned at by the supporters. And that's when tear gas came in, pelted tear gas, bullets and stuff like that. For us, we were in the middle here suffering all that. But we saw all these things with our eyes. And that I can tell you, it was Masjid Ahidaya Nawil in Nansana. Anyone who was there saw this happen. And I am very sure that what Dr. Goloba is talking about in Rubaga really happened. Now we question if these incidents really happened during especially the vote counting, who counted the votes? Which votes were being counted? Are they the ones that had been ticked from the building, or did they just use these DR forms that were being signed?
Has the result been announced?
Yes.
That polling station?
Yeah, the result has been announced. The results have been announced, yes.
We're going to stop for a break. After the break, we'll continue with this. Let's first stop for a break. Welcome back to the Capital Gang. We've had a short break. Just finish off what you wanted to say, and then we go to Afanapondo.
I wanted to address the question of what causes all this, especially the militarization and stuff. Now, my RDC, Fred Bamwine, made a very pregnant point, but he made it in passing, and most of us missed it.
How do I miss it?
I don't know whether... Do you have it? Can you say it before I say it?
You are saying most of us. How do
might have missed it, okay. So, he said every year, a lot of money is assigned to the security to monitor everyone. Now, we all know that in our national budget, the security takes the hugest amount of money. It has the biggest allocation in terms of.
That's not true.
Well, you can argue, but I know that it's one of it's one that takes one of the hugest amounts of money.
Now we have amended one of.
Okay. Now, that money is given to the security in pretext that there are many security issues in the country. Now, if we take 4 or 5 years without seeing any security issue that can warrant that huge amount to be given to them, I think it's just befitting for them in their argument that they will bring out members just for accountability issues of this huge money. And he said that this money has to be accounted for. And we're saying, okay, wait a minute. Should Ugandans then be put in a position where they are being soldiered, or even being put in a position of being rebels, or even called rebels, just for accountability issues, just for you to account for the money that you've been given? For me, I think this is wrong. If it means that the big chunks of money that's being given to the security is what's causing Ugandans this insecurity, then why can't we just slash that money such that we can stay at peace? Because I think that's one of the causes.
Okay. Dr. Glover, you want to add a small one before O comes on?
Yeah, I mean, when Fred Bamwine said that, this has to do with the indiscipline of politicians, the politicians we have, I asked him, where is the government? Because what I mean by asking where is the government is that should we have instances where politicians are misbehaving to the extent of breaking the law, regardless of whether they are NUP or NRM or FDC, when I ask where is the government, what I mean is the police should be able to go and arrest these people, prosecute them, and demonstrate to the public that this behavior is unacceptable. This does not happen. So once it doesn't happen, it serves as encouragement for other people to engage in copycat behavior and do exactly the same thing. So when you see people who are affiliated with the ruling party getting away with so much, these young boys of these other small parties, they will try to mimic those people and say, well, if that one could get away with it, why can't I try it?
Or a border rider will also try it.
Yes, and now for me the other question is, as far as the electoral process is concerned, is there absolutely no feasible way in which the NRM can demonstrate to its rivals that it's winning and winning fairly? So that this whole thing of, we are becoming rebels, we are going to riot, we are going to do this, doesn't arise. Because is it beyond the ability of the NRM if I were to address this to you, is it beyond the ability of your party to demonstrate or endeavor to demonstrate that you're engaging in transparent processes and you win clean, so that no one can go and say, oh, well, they won because they rigged? Because the issues that Wandera is raising of pre-election DR form taking, signing, which I was also told about at my own polling station. And if you consider that in places where the contest between the NRMC and NUP has been so severe, as in Mukono, in Kawempe North, Kawempe South, in Makindye, in Kampala Central, the results took so long to declare.
Up to now, Kawempe North,
So
Kawempe South
long to
haven't been declared.
This is around here. Now, when you take so long to declare results in a place that is so near the Electoral Commission, you create suspicion in the minds of those who are observing. And this is what then raises temperatures. This is what causes young people to go around putting boulders in the roads. Why is that not avoidable? And if we avoided it, would we have an environment where people threaten violence and then you deploy war-grade weaponry in the streets?
Let me educate my young brother Golova.
But
the reason Parliament made the law for elections was that electoral process will be regulated, and the expectation was that the stakeholders would respect those regulations. That's why, specifically for campaigns, for example, they are agents. For election, they are agents. The expectation was that the agents would do what the law says, what their principles, what their candidates have told them which should be in the law. And that's why we don't expect a candidate to be at every polling station, for example. Because you have agents, you have screened, you trust. Quite often, unfortunately, we have also agents who are compromisable by your competitors. And that's why sometimes you hear that at polling station X, my agent was told to sign the DRA form even before results, even before the elections are over, because somebody comes and says, you see, here's 50,000, for example. Signed because after counting, there won't be time, everyone will be rushing. Now, I think that one we can ensure by civic education, by vote education in the long run, so that we ensure that how does a candidate get a good agent? And what constitutes a good agent? Does he know the law? Does he know the procedure? Is he immune to being tempted by material gains or other forms of compromises? I think that's one area. And now, the the other form, rather preside, of what consequence? Unless somebody is saying that I will put 100 votes and go and influence the officer at the tally center, at the sub-county, at the district level. Maybe.
Which is possible.
Maybe. So I don't know what that would serve. If I have a good agent and you go with the presiding.
Can I just give you a piece of information there?
Because at that point, the presiding officer probably will not give me a stamp.
Just a point of information. Just before I came here, I heard on the radio that during the counting of the votes for Kawempe South, this is where Nyanzi is contesting, what the electoral officials were reading did not tally with what was on the declaration forms they had. So they raised this objection. And the electoral officials asked them to hand over their declaration forms, and they were willing to do it. Now, when they asked the NRM side, now this is on the radio, I heard it on the radio. When they asked the NRM side to hand over their forms, they refused to hand over theirs. They said, but we are not, the declaration forms.
At the polling stations?
No, the declaration. Because, candidates are given declaration.
At the polling station.
Yes. Then you take to the district.
Then you take them to where the tallying is happening.
Yes.
So Nyanzi presents his and says, what you're reading doesn't conform to what I have on my forms. Then the electoral officials say, okay, now let's have a look at what you have. Nyanzi and his side are willing to show what they have, but the other side is unwilling to show. Now, what does that suggest?
It's the same with the Kawempe North of Nalukola. He went and objected, and they stopped the counting. Now they are going to begin the entire process today.
Now, so there's an explanation.
Yeah,
for that.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You, the candidates of the political party, must make sure that you have agents who know what the process should be like, and that would defeat any mischief. But let me go back a little. You're talking of where the contestation is high. When you walked in, I was actually giving the constituency of West Budama County South. That's where Dr. Tara, who's a sitting member of parliament, is. Where I said, when they counted the votes were more than
The constituents.
were more than the names of the voters in the polling station. And I can tell you, in that constituency, all the three candidates, Dr. Tana, who was defending his seat, has been NRM. He's actually in the parliament as NRM for the second time, but was defeated in the primaries and came back as independent. The other two, one, Solomon Okecho, is also an NRM who contested actually in the NRM primaries. He lost. He came as independent. The third is George Okecho, who happens, by the way, to be the neighbor of our producer, Patricia here. Contested in the NRM, he's the one who has the flag. All of them, in that constituency, there is no DP, there is no UPC, there is no, all the NRM.
It's like Zimbabwe.
Yes, NRM people. But that mischief was done. So it is not just about NRM contestation and the opposition. No, it is simply bad manners. And I agree with you that in NRM, it has been long where we allow people to do bad manners and get away with it.
Yeah.
They eat or divert election campaign money. You remember when a deputy prime minister was intercepted with the ballot papers in Mavira?
Yes.
You remember when ballot papers which were meant from Piggy were found in Sironko and things, stuff like that. So I admit that in the NRM, we have left people to get away with mischief for a long time.
There was a time you had said
yes.
you're going to clean up.
Yes.
And you said if someone has lost in the primaries and they come back and win,
Yes, but
you shall not accept
no,
them in your
that one
ranks.
was overtaken by the Supreme Court ruling, I think, which said your internal disagreement cannot prevent the person from running for parliament as a and actually, and remember, it was from that ruling that the Sech Kubos were allowed by the Right Honorable Kadaga to keep in parliament. And since the Constitutional Court, I think, or the Supreme Court ruled so, that's...
No, but internally it said that if you stand against an NRM, we expel you.
No, actually, in this one, many have been not expelled, but suspended. If you know the case of Musechwero.
Yeah.
The Honorable Musechwero lost the primaries. He went back and nominated as independent. When they convened the meeting, when they called the meeting of NRM chairman of districts, he was expelled from the meeting. They removed the chair from him. That's actually what forced Musechwero to withdraw from being an independent and said, I will support the flag bearer, which he has done well. I don't know what his calculation, probably.
So you have more examples of that. Then
we are now beginning to get to that. In the recent election, this campaign, you had the second national vice chairperson, Right Honorable Bandit Among, in the leader a week ago, 2 weeks ago, saying, Mr. President, we cannot have a minister in your government challenging another minister in the same constituency. Can you speak to Honorable Betty Among so that he withdraws? But I think it was late. Now we are beginning to have that kind of sober, candid discussion. And I think the president, as somebody who has worked with him for quite a long time and closely, I know, I think he has been saying, what do we want? We want democracy. We want harmony. I think this bending backwards, especially by the president, has bred kind of indiscipline which has flourished. In this campaign, Honorable Todwong, Honorable Moses Chigongo, they have been insistent, even when we go for those meetings, if you're a chairperson who has lost or a candidate who's NRM and lost primaries, they actually first ask, how many NRM people who lost primaries are standing as independent and have come to this meeting? March out. I have been in more than 10 meetings where those things have happened. And I think it is beginning to build results. In this election, I think because of that, we are likely to get fewer independents.
I don't know.
This is my reading. So, but I just want to conclude. The question of which Gorova raises, what breeds this heightened security deployment? We can say maybe intelligence overestimates intelligence that they have. Maybe they sex it up for other reasons, because somebody can say we have information that there are people who are planning to ban police stations when it is not
to get a budget.
Maybe we have that, and I mean right now we have generals of intelligence who are in detention because officials are saying they have been writing fictitious reports. Now, we need to clean up, obviously. So that could be some of the reasons that there is what you now call over-deployment. But in circumstances where we don't have any other information, we go by what the security have said. They say there are people. But also, when a presidential candidate and his side are saying, after voting, after declaration, march to the street, behave as rebels, then there you can't say that security has overestimated or has sexed it up. And you have talked about copycat behavior. These groups now are doing copycatting of what is happening in the neighborhood. It happened in Kenya. So opposition people, I think, young people in our country here, as you know, a member of parliament, a presidential candidate thinks that the laws don't attach them. Have you ever bothered to ask yourself, a presidential candidate in Uganda who has been given a platoon of policemen, why would you, a presidential candidate, touch the body of another policeman? Why? Because you have people who should actually, in my view, if I'm the presidential candidate and the policemen are saying, don't go beyond this point, the commander of my guard should be the one to talk to the other policemen. This is our presidential candidate, this is our principal. We have an obligation to take him. That's how it should work. There should be no circumstance under which
tear gas together.
Yeah, there should be no circumstance. And no, in that case, the commander of this side will make a report to the main command. There should be no circumstance whatsoever where Chagulanyi himself touches a policeman. Yeah, there shouldn't be.
But
I think there's a copycat behavior among the groups. And let me tell you, this particular group now, so that FDC got away with similar behavior for 10 years, 2005 to 2016. That was the behavior of FDC. Now FDC has gone down. The group that has subsumed the FDC is behaving in the same way. They hope, and I think NUP is getting away with it also for another 10 years. NUP certainly is going to collapse. If you look at the results of these elections, they are going down. I don't think they will get more than 50 members of parliament. I don't think they are expanding to other regions. So there is a likelihood that there's another group that's going to replace NUP. And I can tell you, I can tell you, the behavior is likely to be the same. And I agree. I admit with part of what you're saying, that if the response of the state is the same of bravado, chances are you are likely
to remain in that limbo.
You are likely to make every group that comes also behaving in bravado. And therefore, obviously, the state and NRM, which is dominant, and I have said this here many times, we have the responsibility as NRM, as the dominant group, to behave better.
Yeah.
If we remove soft money from our campaigns, if we remove violence from our campaign,
and if you arrest defaulters both ways,
yes, then if we are even-handed, the situation would change dramatically.
Been saying this all along. Now,
let's have. We'll come back to you. Let's have Fred Bamwine first.
Oscar.
But you see, what Oo is saying is also correct. But you've not mentioned the Bamwines. For example,
no, but I've just said in this election, for example, Oscar, we have not had a single RDC.
No way.
Walking into a radio station and removing a candidate who's talking.
Let me tell you.
In this election, they have not
cancelled venues for presidential candidates.
To ask him.
Yes. I can name for you very many.
Please name three.
In Mbale city, they cancelled that. In Gulu, what caused all that mayhem was because the venue had been hijacked by RDCs, beaten all the people who were there.
And even in Kwen.
Okay. Thank you, Derek. You know these days, Fred Bamwine works cleverly. So you are saying you have not seen him switching off radio station, but do not think he has not been working.
You might cause him problems saying he has not switched off.
So when you say a fair ground, you should be pointing at Bamwine himself.
Oscar.
Nyombitembo does not. He's open. Very, very right.
I want to state. I've listened to my colleagues that what they are missing and what we are missing as a country is called political hygiene. In all parties across.
So now you're agreeing with your namesake.
And that's what I raised. If you compare during the movement system of governance and now, which is, as of now, which is more better, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm throwing it there because all of us we have been around. Two, I think we are forced into something which we had not prepared the population to be in. That's my thinking. Because that time you could elect somebody because of non-sectarian, all-inclusive, this was broad-based, all-inclusive, non-sectarian, and individual merit. Those were the principles. And anybody could be voted. And the tension was less because you could go in there. Actually, like in RCs, when they were RCs, you contest with Gorova, the people say, we need Mr. Comrade Goreva into treasurer. Then the money should be defense. The population, because they know you. But now when we are forced into this, and nobody has made a reflection.
Oscar, what my colleague Bamwine, what is engaging in is rationalism.
Yes. Yes.
Trying to, Honorable Mr. Bamwine, don't rationalize the bad behavior.
Yes.
Even, by the way, even in that individual merit.
Yes.
Do you remember in the Kabale, people would make the electoral college drunk, and just if they know one Catholic is really good at swallowing, they make sure that he swallows so that he doesn't come to vote. Do you remember?
Yes.
Do you remember the issue between the late Kitariko and Dr. Rugunda?
Yes, very well.
Do you remember that the movement you are talking about, the issue of Captain Guma Gumisiri in Ibanda and many other places? So it has just spread. It can't be cured by whether individual merit or not.
I'm putting
it is just across. Our failure as the leading group.
Yes. Set standards.
Yes.
And
no, we have actually set standards, but we don't enforce it. If we enforce it, we don't enforce it evenly. Because the case you have raised.
Thank you.
If you look at these elections, all places where guns are brought out between the candidates of NRM is never in other parts of the country.
Yes.
It is mainly in the corridor. So I mean, so those are the issues.
So my intake is that we need to go back on the drawing board and ask the question: one, what kind of discipline do we expect from a politician? Now that Honorable Fono has gone to Parliament, we need this piece of legislation, and even setting in the do's and the don'ts, and setting even the punishments. Because why should somebody be disqualified for having been cheating elections, and then you allow him to contest again in the by-election? If it would have said anybody fought in elections, my bribery
Convicted.
should not contest
Yes.
for some time. But somebody loses a petition and he goes back with the other one. So to me, those are some of the things we need to bring out too.
But stay on the microphone.
I agree with Gorova, but if I say this, I want you to know I'm not a spokesperson of NRM.
No, I don't think you are. No,
Yes, I'm coming.
But you are mobilized of NRM. I don't know whether there's a strict distinction between the spokesperson and the mobilizer.
Mobilizer.
So
Mobilizer in a
I agree with you that if NRM was strict on its members and set the standards, maybe
the other party
the others
will follow.
could copy. But as I told you, lack of political hygiene across the board. Now, for us as government and the state, we have one obligation. Whether Fono fights with his counterpart or anybody, we have an obligation to make sure the state of Uganda remains standing as government. So we shall not take chances that since we are in election, therefore security should balance. No, we are saying once you have indications of removing the state and the government by either action or through intelligence, and we must say, don't do that. Two, I told you my brother Chaguranyi, when this election was beginning, he mentioned 3 statements, but the 2 I didn't put them out. The first meeting he said, anybody who is intending to contest under NUP must build a gari. A gari, these are gangs. Whoever cannot build a gari has no space in us. Now, a gari.
What's wrong with a gang?
Gangs.
What's wrong with it?
To go and beat people.
You were a gangster here. Do you
No,
beat people?
no. I'm talking of gang hooligans.
They call them hooligans, not gangs.
And they saw and they did it when the late secretary died.
Fred,
you saw how they displayed it.
Fred, I want you to pause on that one. We have Fred Gorova come because it is the next topic.
There
I
are
want
two.
to. No, I'll come back to you.
There is another one.
Hold on. After the break, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Yes, so it will give you more time and with better direction. You wanted to make a comment.
What Fred is saying here, and of course he referred to there must be laws, there must be which are enforced. Now, if you have a retired army officer who has bodyguards,
Yes.
who have guns, who is running for election
MP.
to an office, and who allows his bodyguards to beat people around him, what does it take for the UPDF to enforce the law on the use of weapons?
Yes.
Why would the UPDF not just jump into action and go and enforce the law against that armed officer who is allowing his bodyguards to beat people around in the area where he's
I wish if you had allowed me to finish.
I'm going to allow you to finish. We're going to stop for a break and then.
So the laws are there. We don't enforce them, or we enforce them selectively. But if we enforced them universally, consistently against everybody, discipline would be restored.
Indeed. We stop for a break. Welcome back from the break. We are discussing matters elections. Fred Bamine wanted it finished. And towards the end, and we're going to talk, something different. You must really think about the level of thuggery now, and then because you do not enforce the law, and it is very difficult to see who the thugs are. And you and I know. Know how thugs work, pretending to be in uniform.
I was telling, I was
people.
informing you. Once a presidential candidate says, "My supporters form gangs of hooligans who can go steal, beat the population," really, as security cannot fold its hands. Since one is a presidential candidate, we can't do much.
Has he been arrested?
Hold on, I'm coming. Okay. 3, he also mentioned, you people, the youth should do what the youth have done in Nepal, what they have done in Tanzania, Cameroon. He mentioned about 5 countries. These are not small statements. By the way, no. Because I really have been interrupted. Let me first finish.
I'm protecting you. Let's finish.
Because you see, because once you state that kind of tone of violence, and then you expect security to hand you with kid gloves, it's not possible. Because what you sow is what you reap. Security has a responsibility to make sure the state of Uganda, whether the elections or not, must remain standing. And we have done that. Now,
let's have one microphone.
Now, the other issue, which is the biggest challenge, intelligence is not shared. I think somebody mentioned it here, wrong intelligence. I wish if it was allowed for intelligence to be shared and the operations that have been managed to stop removing of a government. Threats that have been curtailed. Threats that have been curtailed to make sure the state remains standing. You couldn't believe it. And actually, Sun Tzu, who set up the tone of security, he says that the stupidest intelligence officer is the one who trusts his own shadow. So in security, we don't take anything for granted.
Fred Bamwine. So we you know the theme we had before, and I was telling you, and go over here.
Yes.
Apply the law.
Yeah,
a good question to you. Now, have you arrested Bobby Wine?
We may not have arrested Bobby Wine, but I can tell you his accomplices have been arrested. But you see,
they're not
arresting.
And kept in detention
both of them are in courts. All of them.
Maybe let me just give him some information. Information.
But will you give me this time?
Yes.
Mr. RDC.
Yes.
Information. I was in Aweru, that polling station I'm talking about. There were gangs and hooligans that you're talking about.
Yes.
Do you know who they belonged to? The NRM candidate. And you know why they were stoned by the supporters? Because they were the ones who were going with the ballot boxes, and they weren't arrested.
I don't think
you are wrong.
I don't think that is information.
It is important. It is
No.
for you to say that.
No. You made the information.
I thought you were listening to me. I'm saying for us as security, we don't bother whether you are NRM or opposition.
They weren't arrested.
As long as you are making a mistake, because I will take it to you. Did you report to them? Yes, the whole of yesterday. The whole of yesterday. If you knew how many people were arrested, even who belong to NRM, because they were breaking the law, you could not believe it. So we don't care about the party you support. The important thing is the security of the country must be protected, and all of you go and vote.
Fred Bamwine, don't leave microphone. Hold on, don't leave microphone. Take his point.
But will you give me time?
You're making too many points. Oscar, the point I want to make. Now,
and he's not allowing us to contest the point.
Fred may be justified in saying Kyagulanyi has issued these threats. They have said they build a galley and so on and so forth. And you asked him why is he not arrested, and he said his accomplices have been arrested.
Yes.
But as far as we know, Fred, a lot of these NUP young people who are in jail are there for wrongful drilling. They are there for stealing phones. They are there for all kinds of charges. We haven't seen.
Are they part of the law?
We haven't seen you prosecuting people and bringing evidence that these people are planning to overthrow the government.
Now
we
what?
haven't seen that.
Now you're
prosecuting them for stealing phones, for wrongful drilling, for hooliganism.
By the way,
and then they are kept in detention for
maybe
months
I can even
months.
say this. Maybe even I can say this. We may stop you from executing your mission with those charges you have mentioned.
By detaining indefinitely.
The bigger issue,
because
the bigger issue is you have been failed to remove a government which you wanted, and that's why I was saying that
curtailing.
Yes,
you see, we can come with the helicopter and hover over your compound.
Yes,
we don't have to arrest you.
Yeah, that is not illegal.
We don't have to arrest you.
Yes, but for you,
we disrupt your plans. We can do certain things for purposes
But
of
that's not illegal. That is not illegal.
I'm not saying
What is putting to is
No.
the non-arrest of some people. and
No,
arresting
the
others.
people who have been arrested
Yeah.
are in various courts, actually. Various courts. Now, the issue of whether arresting Chaguranyi or not, security will never tell you that we are going to arrest you today. It depends.
No, my question was, is he arrested
No,
now?
it depends. No. It depends. For instance, if you know he's attracting people to make crimes, why don't you leave him as a pet?
When I came here, these rumors had been swelling, generated by his wife and son, I'm told, and police has formally addressed a press conference, Kituma Rusoke. And so I called him, I asked him, is it true? He said, no. It is rumors being spread by him to attract. And I think they're doing it because they know from the trend of the results. They know for sure what he had told the people, the public, and his funders and his backers. The results are not showing what has been saying.
Now, Mr. Andrea says that why don't they slash the security budget?
That's not necessarily.
That's what he said. Because they are not.
You don't have to give that one.
No. I have to say this.
Yeah, it's not a good thing.
Uganda, this government has moved for 40 years. I can tell you, Andela is able to do that journalism because the country is stable. Countries which have mishandled the security, you know how they are.
Fred Bamwine.
Therefore,
as today's moderator, I do not also agree with Derek Wande. Let's not dwell on it.
Okay.
But about 10 minutes to the end, I want to address you on thuggery.
Yes.
I mean, you talk about big things, but there's a lot of thuggery in urban places. And what's your plan for that? That's towards that. But let me start here with
let me first, just one second. I know what we are suffering.
You cannot speak for 1 second.
I know what we are suffering from. What we are suffering from is the strategic patience of the president. That's what we are suffering from. Because he has a belief that if Wandera has been...
But I said that I want that 10 minutes too. Let's first come back to the election. And I have particular questions I'll ask you about that. We'll have it 11:50.
I hope I will not protest.
No. I don't want your protest vote.
You see how RDCs behave?
Yeah. You see, that's how they behave. So, we've touched on the loss of Betty Amoni. What about other big people that lost the election?
No, well, first of all, this time, big people have been losing elections. As you know, the last election we lost the vice president. But this time,
Honorable Sekandi.
But yes, this time we lost Nankabirwa. We lost Nabakova. Those are senior ministers
In the last election.
Yes, Miyingo here. You can't believe that Miyingo can lose the election for a street peddler and so on, things like that. But they did. So big people losing has been taking place at every election. This time, however, maybe I don't know if you have noticed in this election, for me, two things. Or three. One, NRM and Museveni have regained the area they lost in the last election, Buganda. President Museveni has won a number of districts which he lost. The last time he won no district. This time he has won about half of them, though marginally. Two, NRM candidates have regained constituencies. By this morning when I recounted, I think there were 16. That's quite significant in this election.
16, especially from NUP or
most of it from
across,
I think almost all from NUP. Third, and Busogo, of course. Third, particularly the constituencies. President Museveni has won, I think, the majority of districts in Busoga. Last time he won only 3. This time and Busoga, has 12 districts. 4, this time the most noisy or active, hyper, have been in opposition in Buganda. And nearly all of them have lost. if you start with Mpuga Yalia, Mugalatia, the Galatian, Bedi Bwanika, you come down to Mwanga Kivumbi, who is the vice president of Buganda and is the one who has been in charge of placing candidates in his colleagues' constituencies that he lost.
And news coming in that Madina
and Seroko of
has won in and NRM has won in Kawempe.
Even Busiro North, Miss Akabanda. The first time I think in in 3 cycles of election, NRM
Central,
Kampala Central regaining. So I'm saying the opposition losing to each other is something that needs interrogation. How did the Semuju lose to Musisi? How did
they talk to each other?
How did the Mwanga Kivumbi lose to an independent in that Butambala?
Even
Aisha Kabanda has lost to the NRM. That one is
an independent also.
Who is NRM?
Oh, Irene.
Yes.
It was in that last election where she was.
She's now independent. She's now independent.
Mpuga losing to Amelia Chambade regaining. So I think
Nabakova
winning. If you look at the man of Nakaseke's who? Tamaguzi makes a lot of noise. So I think these are things that require interrogation. How did it happen that these noisy guys Sewungu
won?
Yeah, he lost.
No, he lost. So
Sewungu, he lost?
Yes.
I went to bed thinking
you see their preliminary results. For example, you went to bed thinking that Waisam Fundo had won. But now it is Ruhin.
He lost.
You went to bed.
I woke up in the morning thinking Lydia had not won. But by evening she had won.
So this recapture
in Uganda, we said, did you touch it?
No, this recapture of Uganda by President Museveni and NRM, I think for me points to one thing, that generally we may underestimate our voters because they don't have as much education probably as we are. But I think people are aware. If you don't respect leaders, like in Mwanga Kivumbi, if you listen to the way Mwanga Kivumbi speaks about the president, if you listen to the way Semuju speaks about the president and his family, I think people just say, my friend who I told you called me this morning, I have been going to that constituency. And people ask Abu Dukatu, said, you mean 25th year and you're still bringing...
Someone sends me a message that Sewungu won, actually.
You're bringing...
That's right.
You're still bringing for us a handhold.
He's not disrespectful to the president, no.
No. If you look at, for example, why would NRM and President Museveni, who, in my estimation, who have done well, the president has done well, but you see the resistance against the president, that far-flung place my Yuge. So I think we don't have to underestimate our voters.
Thank you, Dr. Golova. Why did Mpuga lose?
I think that Mpuga Masaka.
Have you heard what Ofonofono said?
Yeah, well, I heard.
He said, yeah.
For me, I think it's not the only reason. And I was following Masaka fairly closely, and the NUP has held very strongly there, which means that the politics of Masaka is what has failed Mpuga and Bwanika.
Bwanika lost?
Bwanika lost. Masaka is very strongly NUP. And when Masaka used to be very strongly DP, it was very strongly DP for a very long time. So Masaka has now switched to NUP, and I'm not sure that...
and then Mpuga formed a party. He did not.
Yeah, he formed the party.
He didn't stand really in the party. But then he said he's supporting President Museveni.
Yeah, and I think that... That's because that's
never declared.
He didn't?
No, he never said this.
Now, the one thing that I wanted to
say...
Mao.
One thing that I wanted to say in reaction to what
Mpuga never did.
was saying, I think that there is something that we also need to interrogate. Normally, in electoral environments that are free of violence, where people feel that the outcome reflects how they vote, we would be having a lot of celebrations across this country. But I think over the last three elections, the NRM's wins are always met with a certain silence that always makes me wonder why.
Even, I'll give you an example.
Why are people not celebrating
his first
their win?
action was relief. He was so relieved. That was his. It was not a celebration. We have not yet thrown the party, but he was so relieved.
In Mukono, when Nambozo was announced,
stress.
the celebrations exploded. But NRM wins, and somehow the environment remains very subdued.
We are now used to winning. That is now ordinary.
Even in areas where you take seats from the opposition, like in Kawempe South.
So I wonder.
I think I'll take it on from Dr. Goloba. Why the NRM doesn't celebrate their wins is
why don't people celebrate their wins?
Their people is after taking the win, you're waiting to see what's the reaction thereafter. Who is going to come after me? Certainly there are questions about this win because of that kind of reaction when you're waiting for who is going to tell me, can you bring back my property? Can you do this? So you ask about the big falls, I think, which is what we opened the show with. The big falls have so many issues in terms of their longevity when you look at all the big people who have been there, but also the number of issues that have risen. For Honorable Mpuga, to be particular, he had a big contestation between him proving to the public that he was actually right, and then Mr. Kyagulanyi pushing the pin into his body, telling him that this was wrong. And I think this is the biggest judgment that Kyagulanyi has gotten. He likes to go to the court of the people, and I feel this is the time, because he even sang a song called the Nalumansi, and he told him the people are going to leave you because of what you've done. So whether it was legal or illegal, the question was left to morality, and the morality comes down to the community from where we come. And I think the judgment has been delivered. And if there is anyone who has won, Mpuga has lost.
Mpuga has lost.
Yes. If there is anyone who has won, Mpuga has lost.
But Segona, I thought that by the removal of Walukaga, Segona had a clear path.
No, I think Segona was never the favorite. This would have been the first time if Segona was given the flag for NUP to lose flat in that constituency without saying that we have been cheated or what. Segona had so many issues again with his constituents. I saw one of the clips when he was contesting and he was campaigning, and people were asking him questions. Where is your office in the constituency, for instance, to begin with? Just asking him the question, where is your office? Who do you employ in that office? After winning, you go to Kampala and you only come back to ask for votes from us. And Honorable Segona was...
Changes phone numbers even.
And Honorable Segona was, our producer is also supplementing. Honorable Segona was very furious against this supporter, and I actually group of supporters. And I think, like OO says, very many politicians in this country take Ugandans for fools. They think Ugandans do not sit there and judge things. When I was on this show with the Honorable Semuju, he was seated in this chair, I was seated right here. And Honorable Semuju was saying that he was supporting Honorable Mpuga for taking the 500 million because he's his friend. I asked Honorable Semuju that, Honorable Semuju, a person who is in Chira municipality, eating dust on those dusty municipality roads, Chira municipality roads, will not understand where you're coming from supporting someone who has taken 500 million, which is supposed to be working on the roads. Honorable Semuju said, you dare come to, you go and contest in Chira municipality and see whether you will win me. Yeah, I couldn't.
And we have not contested.
No, I couldn't.
So, back to you, as promised, in the final 10 minutes. I'll seek permission for maybe another 10 minutes. They got over here, talked about the people that are in prisons and being brought to court and so on. And Ofonopono here said, follow the law. How can you help Uganda by following the law instead of playing politics all the time? You know, if a border man is crossing, riding on the pavement, how can you help in that? How can you help with that? There's thuggery. The other day someone told me that he was forced to take off a shirt. Guy came up to me. They came up to him and said, "We like your shirt. Please, let's have it." So people out there agitating. RDC Bamwine, help us. Leave the politics alone and, work as the law requires.
Yes, I agree with you that this political behavior you are seeing has also extended into criminality. Recruitment of those gangs for political reasons, and those who created them, they fail to tame them. You find you have supporters whom you have set a tone, but when you want to tell them to behave, they'll not listen to you. So as security, we have a huge issue of majority young people who survive on hand to mouth, and now these politicians have enticed them that once they go and beat the other supporters, they can earn a living, but also criminality itself. Stealing,
is it not bigger than when you say politicians hire them?
Attacking people, grabbing anything. But now we are in the boardroom. There's nothing bad like what I don't like is the kind of politics. Do you know the chairman LC1 fears to talk to the youth in his village to stop stealing because they are going to campaign him?
Really?
Yes. I'm telling you, they don't. They fear. So that's why when
and some, I think some of them are even more concerned about land issues.
No. In fact, if you want to do an effective operation, you don't lose the chairman LC1. He fears them. He waiting for his time to vote. They support him. We have gone as low as that. Then, of course, we have also another challenge in this country. You arrest a thug or the village comes. This is our child. This is our but is there a thief who is not produced by anybody? Me and you remember the case you told me. I intervened. This boy was having a wrong group.
Actually, that's not even true. I'm going to tell you. It's business rivalry.
So we have these kind of issues, but as security, we have to step up to get out of this and be in the middle. Because in the politics, I can tell you, in an election, you arrest somebody. No, he has been arrested because he's NRM. He has been arrested because he's noob. Fortunately, elections have gone away. I can promise you, unfortunately, now this time I'm back here in town. It is not going to be.
So you are the mover and the shake of things. What do you do?
So, but when he says, for example, that incident, when people are arrested, can they be arrested properly, not in a drone?
Yes.
Can a police person
we have to go back
to that's what the president says.
Yeah.
I don't know why our colleagues in police and army don't do what the law says.
Yes.
If we think that, for example, the 48-hour is a short window to investigate and have grains of evidence we can go to Parliament, or we should go to Parliament and say, Mr. Parliament, we want to extend this to 72 hours.
But when they go to court, doesn't court extend the time?
No,
you
court can't. Court, you will be
I need more time.
Yeah. But anyway,
if a prosecutor says I need more time, they give it to you.
I think
you must take it for good fire.
There's no good reason, maybe let me add that, why the police or the army should arrest anyone and don't, first of all, identify who is arresting.
Identify where you have taken them.
Yes.
By verbal, communicate, because that's our policy. Tell the area leaders what the offense is and where you have taken them. That should be
basic.
That should be basic. But I think there's a sense in which I read impunity on our side as government. They say, I am the commander, what will you do? And I think that is not acceptable. is not earning NRM or even President Museveni any credit. If you have treated even the real criminal that way, there's no evidential value you are going to obtain or achieve produce in court. And we have now seen many people of that nature. Once they go to court, they say, you arrested me wrongly. And now that becomes the issue. Even in the media. Then you distract us, you distract government from doing tackling this man.
Okay, thank you.
You know?
Let's have 2 minutes. We're 2 minutes from Derek Wandera, and then 2 minutes from Fred Bamwine, and Fred Golo will be there last week. We're out of time. And you know, fighting with Bamwine over 2 minutes can be hard.
You know.
So your 2 minutes start now.
These cattle keepers,
the election,
especially because they're just coming from nomadism.
Is that your minute?
They think that there's a lot of time.
Oscar, give Honorable OO 1 minute as usual. This election, from the start, the NRM was always confident that we are going to beat NUP by anywhere. I remember asking.
You know, I like Katana, but I kept telling him that. Unfortunately, I like you, but the rating is on the wall.
They say we are going to beat them by either 85%.
And I gave a prediction of 68.
Right now,
mine
it's
71%.
Yeah. And I think the Honorable Kyagulanyi has 24 as of now in the provisional.
He's lost his percentages.
He has lost his percentages and numbers MPs as well. And the MPs, they have only 28 now, as opposed to 57 that they got in the last election.
If Semuju was there, he'd put a spin on it. But
for me, this election is going to be very pivotal for Uganda in terms of how do we move from here.
You know, that's what Tumukunde said when he stood.
Because of the very many problems we've had in the pollings, especially when we started 6 hours later, and all the problems that came.
2 minutes, Fred Bamwine.
I mean, Oscar, I want to read the quote that Mr. President gave, President Museveni gave after polling about the biometrics. But let me have the Daily Monitor as they.
There's no need for you to read.
It is important.
No.
Fred Bamwine, your 2 minutes. If I can squeeze you into the 2 minutes.
I think this election should be used as a learning experience across the board. I can tell you, when I was looking at all the people who lost, and how NRM has taken over some districts in Uganda, which was a stronghold of NUP. I think it's important now to know that voters, you can take them for a ride for some time, but not forever. Two, there is something emerging which I think is very dangerous. One, politics of identity has come back. Then for
me on that one, I say,
Then also the issue of is it big man syndrome? I can tell you, people have voted NRM because of President Museveni. People have voted NUP because of Kyagulanyi. And I think that doesn't make politics stronger. And the issues being raised.
I don't know.
As far
Finish
as
off. Last sentence.
The last sentence, I want to talk to my colleague, my friend Fred. He says, when the big parties don't set a tone, then small parties have all the reasons to riot.
To copy.
As somebody in charge of security,
that's not what he said.
Two wrongs don't make a right. Yeah. And we shall always say, this one has made a wrong, and this one is a wrong. We cannot go.
Your 2 minutes.
So security is very important for everybody.
Okay. Fred, your 2 minutes.
Yeah. Well, the first thing that I would say is that I hope that this the outcome for NUP is not going to discourage these young people, because personally I think that they have added value to the politics of this country. And I would even go further and argue that if they had not been frog-marched and stampeded into panicking here and there, they probably would have performed better. The other thing that I would disagree with,
I also
Bamwine,
think they probably wouldn't have won, but they'd have performed better.
That's what I think. I don't.
But
I think
said even if he's voted,
winning for them,
they will
it's
not be
still
declaring.
too early for them to win. The other thing that I would say to Fred Bamwine, and I hope that he'll take this as a
But as
caution.
you tell you, but Fred Bamwine, be fair. You want Justice Byamukama to announce someone else. You be fair as well.
Yeah. So Oscar, just
Even though would not allow.
the other thing that I hope Fred does not take lightly is that the crowds that I have seen over the 3 months following Chagulanyi and congregating around him. No, hang on.
Your
keep
new
saying that.
microphone is on.
Those crowds, I think that those crowds have been communicating something or are communicating something. Dismissing them, as you know, even Besigye had them, is not those young people are saying something, and I hope that the government is going to sit down and try to understand what are they saying.
Look at getting them work.
They're not voters, but they have grievances, and I think the government has a responsibility to listen to them. These general palliatives of giving them money in the ghettos is not going to be the solution.
Also, ask the oldies. Luckily, we have Ofono Pondo, who is going to Parliament to look after us.
The last thing.
We have been
Guys, don't interrupt. Don't interrupt.
been listening and acting on some of the things, and that's the reason Museveni and NRM is rising and Chagulanyi is losing. In addition to
I wish you and I could have a conversation about.
We are going to have it.
About the implications of this.
We are going to have it. We are going to discuss it.
Nope is unlikely to get 45 years.
Okay, now, Oscar, the last thing, and here I must congratulate OO in the sense that OO is a very rare NRM politician. He can be very dismissive and flippant sometimes, but OO has something very different about him from other NRM politicians, in that he concedes that here we are doing badly, here we need to correct. I think that this country, regardless of our politics, we need to move back from where we are in terms of political violence, political tension.
Dr. Glover, thank you. An extra minute to get a quote.
On Thursday, he said, the National Unity Platform, listen, the National Unity Platform printed 1 million votes at Nkrumah Road, and another 1 million votes, another 1 million in Dubai. The biometric voter verification kits machines works, as you saw, but some people feared it. They didn't want it to work. The machines have no problems, but some people in the Electoral Commission delayed to bring some of them.
Where was security when this?
We are going to send Ofono to investigate. Thank you, the voters who went and voted. Thank you, the gangsters of the day. Mr. Fred Bamwine, thank you very much. Dr. Frederick Golova, thank you very much. Honorable Ofono Pondo, thank you. Derek Wande, I think you can hear them. Thank you very much. Results are coming in. Ofono Pondo, this is for you. Patricia is telling you that Shamim Malende has won in Kawempe. In Kampala, woman MP, they're telling me. Then Patricia, Makindye West is Keza Ririka. Kampala South is Madina and Seriko. Makindye East is Kasirenganda. This apparently, Nyombi Tembo says that I must say these are provisional results. What about Fred Bamwine? What about? Ask there. What about? Nakawa Ruindi is which one? Nakawa East. We mentioned him at the beginning of the show. Yes, we did. But you remember Nyombi Tembo was here. He said we must add on the word. These are provisional results. Yes. So thank you very much, our listeners. We must also thank Star Cafe. I am Oscar Semoya Msoke, and I shall see you next week.